Welcome to episode 2 of Wall of Sound TV. I'm Ebony.
I'm Browny.
And this episode is all about the next generation or the rising stars of Australian heavy bands. We focus a lot on bands who've already made it, like Parkway, Polaris, Alpha Wolf.
Harrison Craig,
What?
winner of The Voice Season 2.
I don't know who that is.
Sorry, it's relevant to the subject. Continue.
Okay, but we really want to focus on bands who are set to become household names. So this episode you'll hear from Future Static and a couple of other regional bands who are working twice as hard to get exposure in the industry.
Plus, the big dog himself, Winston McCall from Parkway Drive, calls through with a couple of bits of advice for your band. If you want to follow suit with what Parkway have done, how they've maintained everything all within their band and become the metal titans they are today, make sure you stick around for that. You do not want to miss that advice. But right now, let's officially kick it off with a band who we believe have just made it past that upcoming nature.
Oh, yeah.
And they're about to take on the world. It's the one, the only.
Hey, this is Jesse and Indy from Windwaker.
And you're watching
Wall of Sound TV.
We're here at the sold-out final show of the I Prevail tour.
Hell
This
yeah.
has been a dream come true situation for you lads to finally play this show.
Yeah, it was scary because it's been 2 years, 2.5 years? No,
Roughly.
2.
That too, yeah.
About 2 since it was booked, and then COVID happened, and we were like, God, is this show even going to happen? And then now it's happening. It's like,
Yeah.
it's happened basically. There's just one show left.
Yeah. It was kind of one of those things coming into it. We were kind of like, didn't feel real because it'd been postponed so many times.
Yeah.
So, and now that we actually, literally the night prior, we're just kind of like, is this actually going to happen? Because when we got out there, Eric, the singer of I Prevail, mid sound check was pretty much dead on stage.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he was just having real bad troubles, and it was just kind of all right, cool.
Yeah, there's been scares the whole way.
It's cursed.
Even while the tour started.
Yeah.
There's scary things happening.
I
But
guess you guys are just all out of practice. I mean, not just you, but every single band around the world right now. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of pressure on you guys because you put out arguably Album of the Year for 2022. It's up there, right?
Yeah,
Ebony?
it's a 10 out of 10. I tried not to do it, but I couldn't.
you
I
were
couldn't.
not
I couldn't
backing us
not.
then?
No. I always try to be like, do I have to give everything 10 out of 10? And I was sitting on a 9.5 for a while, and I was like, I just can't not do it. So yeah, it's an incredible album. Very
Thank you so much.
that's okay. You're welcome. Very stadium feel. It feels really, really big.
Hell yeah. That was definitely a name.
yeah, it felt big for us too. Yeah, I think while we were writing it, a lot of the songs felt like, I don't know, these feel like bigger venue songs for us. So being able to get them, play them in the big
Yeah,
venue
literally.
is pretty sick.
So
Sounds
give
massive.
him a bit of a test drive.
Yeah, we're testing
was it
all
all
of them.
smooth the whole way through?
Yeah.
About
I
it.
mean, you got to look at it this way, right? We're the opener band, so it's not like we have a great deal of time to get everything set up, and our rig is not complicated, but to produce the sound that we want to produce and execute how we want to do it, it does take a bit of time, so it has been smooth. Thank you to our crew.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well
thanks
done.
to the crew.
Now, you've come a long way since the Wagga days. For those who don't know, Wagga Wagga is a country town in the middle of
Nowhere.
nowhere. And when bands barely come through, it's a very excitable thing. However, when you're a band that comes from Wagga Wagga, one of the greatest things about coming from Wagga Wagga is leaving and taking on the world.
Yes.
Would you say it's for bands who start out in regional areas like that, it's a lot of a harder slog to get to where you are?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm actually going through a bit of a not a crisis. I don't know what the word is, but I'm going through something in my life at the moment where I'm going back and looking at where we came from a lot. I'm just kind of I don't know.
Reflecting.
Yeah, it's really humbling to look at because a lot of the bands there is so much talent in the regional areas that it's just you don't even know what's happening kind of thing. But
Yeah.
these guys stay there, they do their local route, and they it's kind of one of those things you do the local route in Melbourne, you're around the people that are really important and getting you to places and shows. In the regional town, it's kind of I kind of like to see it. It's just kind of it's a good area to kind of really learn and just really build yourself up as a musician in a live kind of sense.
Yeah.
It's low stakes. It's low stakes because you can build yourself up quite well in the regional areas, and then as soon as you get to Melbourne or one of the cities, no one fucking knows you.
But you already have a solid fan base as well. People know who you are still. They might come to shows as
So
well.
are you big time celebrities when you go back to Wagga these days?
I every time I go out to Aubrey, you get an occasional kind of horn something to me, which is really cool. I actually like saying that because it's kind of dope. This is where I come from.
Yeah.
when you have a look at the album Love Language and the plethora of songs you got on there, it's not just another metalcore album. There's the melodic stuff. There's trenches. There is just something for absolutely every heavy musical taste. But the question is, obviously, where do you go from this? Like, how do you top this amazing album that has only been out for a couple of months?
I actually love this world, because the world we're in right now with the album we put out, obviously there's so many tail ends that it can kind of go. And that's kind of what the beauty is of Windwaker. I don't think we really, I'm allowed to swear, right?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
We do not give a fuck where we go. We've got a song, we like a sound, it hits our ear nice, it's on the album. Yeah. It's one of those things where like Trenches was like a last minute kind of, well, not a last minute thing, but like that wasn't like a thing I would have thought ever would have been a Windwaker song, but it is. And then like it's met with things like Love Language. I mean, that's kind of like arguably like a colourless too in a weird way, but I mean like those two songs in like comparison, it's just kind of like, doesn't seem like a thing that would fit together, but it does.
Yeah,
and that's what I love about our band, that we can kind of just do that. So I think, honestly, from here on, I think we just keep kind of pushing those envelopes in every single like department that we can.
It's difficult for us because we're trying to refine that as well. Because obviously the album was so chaotic in the way that it moved through different sort of genre bending stuff. And we've started writing again now, and we've just been having big talks about like how do we keep like that creative pool of ideas going while also just refining the sound a bit more and pushing it more into a like even more commercial market and trying to really take more of an international sound as well.
Yep.
There's a lot of conversations going on between us in the background.
I mean, a bunch of the new demos that are already happening now are quite, not to go in depth with it, but like there is already quite a bit of a contrast.
There's some cool stuff coming out. Yeah.
So it's a cool little chance to sprout your wings and see where you'll end up when you fly around.
Yeah, and pulling inspiration from different places. Like we've been like listening to a lot of game music lately, and like just like weird places to pick ideas from. And
It's the way we're just learning. We're still learning a lot, and that's the most important thing I wish all our fans kind of take in after this record. It's like this is only our first long play record. So like we're still so young and we've got so much developing to do as writers and just as musicians. So I still feel like we've got so much juice left to just kind of really
and we're so thankful to like the fans for giving us the opportunity to do that as well. Like so cool.
It was received very, very well.
We're
very, very happy.
Fans are the best.
Well, it's interesting that you say you still need to like refine it and you're still learning, because like from perhaps like a fan's point of view, that album is so good, it sounds so put together, it sounds like, that's what you'd want, and then you go back and go, that's their first like LP. Like, that's insane. So, yeah, props.
Thank you.
I didn't have a point there, I just wanted to
We could ramble on for so long. All four of us are so hypercritical of ourselves that we listen to our album and we're like, oh, this, but then we hear like a fresh perspective like that, and it's so good. Because obviously we've been hearing the album for like 3 years. And
literally. Literally. That's like the biggest thing that we had to sit on that record for such a long time.
Yeah.
Like compliments really do like.
Yeah. Validation.
Make it worth all that time waiting before you got it out. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
All right, well, taking a look to the future, because obviously the world's eyes are on Windwaker right now. It's not an exaggeration, they're everywhere. For a band that have started with a name taken from Zelda and with a memecore new subgenre which you're honing in on and really taking, to global heights, are we going to see Windwaker in 20 years' time still busting out memes, still making jokes on your Facebook page that makes, your label go,
guys,
why do we do this? Why do we sign these guys?
I don't think that's really something we can answer, to be honest, because like we didn't even know we were going to go in that direction.
Yeah, it just happened naturally, and like a fan response just kind of just drove it down that path. And like the memecore genre is really interesting. Like we hear that so often. We're like the only version of like Windwaker that's meme is the internet.
Yeah,
but we exist so heavily on the internet, so it's like it makes sense. But
Maybe
then you
with the
listen
new
to our
wave.
music, and it's like, do we meme in our music? Probably not so much.
Well, you chucked the Chris Croker "Leave Britney Alone" in the Toxic cover as
True,
well.
we
So
do
you have been involved with memes for so long.
I'll tell you. Memecore.
Just embrace the memecore.
Memecore.
See where it leads you. You never know. All right, now forward thinking. We want a prediction from you boys. We're now wrapping up the end of the year, heading into 2023.
Tigers!
What is the next big thing on the Windwaker draw card, bingo card, that you want to cross off and go, yep, we made it?
I feel like a lot of our goals are quite set on writing, we really just want to keep pumping out music.
Yep.
So like we've already started writing and we just want to keep pumping that out. We've got a little bit of a break now because we're waiting till Enter Shikari. We're supposed to have something in between, but it didn't happen. So we've got a long break, so we're probably just gonna be writing.
Yep,
We just want to like keep releasing music because we're all in our like mid to late 20s, so we're trying to move it quickly. Let's
We're
go.
still youthful. Thank you.
You've got your whole life ahead of you. Once you hit 30, that's when it's all fucking over.
No.
That's less than a year for
No.
this son of a bitch. So we're going to write that fucking record.
Well, at least you got your good looks, Jesse. So we'll keep an eye on what you guys do next
lie.
and the next big goals and all of that. We cannot wait to see you dominate the world. Indy and Jesse from Windwaker, thank you for stopping by Wall of Sound. We love you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Since that interview, there's been a shake-up.
Yes, Will King, the frontman, has left to go follow his dream outside the music industry, but it's all good. They will continue moving forward. Liam Ganane, who used to be in the band, but he left to go to his other band, Reside?
Reside?
Yeah,
Reside.
that's it. He's back on vocal duties, and they've also enlisted the help of Connor Robbins, who is going to be up the back of the band's performances, doing their synth and electronics, kind of like what Jordan Fish does with Bring Me the Horizon.
I'm interested to see how this works out. Hopefully doesn't change their sound too much.
Yeah, well, Love Language is still up there with, Album of the Year for 2022, so they can only go upwards from here. We'll see.
Perfect.
Keep an eye on Wall of Sound for what the band do next.
And up next, we have an interview that I really wanted to do, but I couldn't.
You let the team down.
I was sick.
You dogged us
I was
all.
unwell.
So I jumped in and did a 1-on-2 special with Future Static.
Hey, this is Jackson and Kira from Future Static.
And you're watching Wall of Sound TV.
Future Static! Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We have had a very busy year. We're heading into September. You're at Big Sound right now doing your showcases. You kicked off and ended last year at Night and Day Festival, and then have just been popping up on shows left, right and centre. What's the year been like for Future Static Camp?
Oh, it's been nuts. It's been crazy. It's been a massive jump from what we've been doing. Like, we've been a band for about 6 years now,
Yeah.
and just the past year since we released Waves with Amy end of last year, it's just been keeping on going up
The
and up. And
trajectory's going big, yeah.
It's been so
Yeah.
much fun the whole time.
It's been wild. Like we've done so many things this year that don't make sense for us to have been able to do this year, because like the schedule and our release and everything, like all the shows, like everything, like we've been on the back foot for a while in terms of like schedule and stuff. So everything that we've done has been such a blessing, and we're so lucky to be able to have done like tours, these festivals, being here, like very lucky. Yeah.
Is it one of those things that cements you as like, yeah, okay, what we're doing is resonating with people. It's finally
yeah.
happening after 6 years.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. We're really noticing now that more and more people are coming to our shows, people that we've never met.
Yeah.
It's really special. People coming up to us, like from different states, saying, hey, I remember seeing you, a year ago when you were here, and we played to like 3 people.
Yeah, and now you've
like,
got 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
But
because
it's all
them
about
plus
that
their
personal
friend.
growth.
It is,
100%.
exactly. So, no, it's really special to finally see tangible progress, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's a magical word you've got there, prog, because when you mentioned the word Future Static and the band, we did one of your very first premieres back in the day when you were essentially a pop punk band.
Yeah.
And then from there you've dabbled into metalcore with prog elements, brought in screams. It's just completely revitalized the band, and you've turned into this whole new different outfit. Was that internally something that you planned and wanted to get to here, or is that an organic growth?
I think it's an organic thing. Our first EP, was very, very pop punk, and then we kind of lent into something a bit heavier for Fatalist in 2020, and it just kind of, that felt like a natural direction for our songwriting, for performance. It's just so much fun.
Yeah.
And the other bands that we enjoy playing with as well, it just felt like the heavier we got, the more it felt right for us.
Will you hark back to that pop punk sound, or is that for the band in the past and something that you look back and go, that was cool, but this is where we want to head?
I think we're pretty solid at the moment.
I think the good thing about like our sound, and like also having like a vocalist like Amy who can like sing and scream, and having that like breadth of genre, is that we can still like use elements of that while
Yeah.
like building other elements as well. We've got a whole lot under our belt that we can use and still hopefully make it sound cohesive and
Yeah.
work as a unique Future Static sound.
Yeah, so like we're always going to be a really diverse sounding band.
Yeah.
Because each of us individually come from different genres of music.
Yep,
as our
backgrounds of what you
preferred-
appreciate.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I think we'll be heavy for
Yep.
forever, but like the
Yeah.
degree of which will be a constant
what
spectrum.
what little genre of heavy we
Exactly.
come under
Exactly.
LB.
Yeah.
And because of all the subgenres and the different facets, you can find yourself teaming up with different bands. You can take
Yeah.
different bands out on
It's
the
been our
road with
favourite
you.
bit so
Yeah.
far.
Oh,
yeah.
for sure.
So, what's the biggest thing that's happened to you since COVID has finished and you found yourself back out and playing shows again? What's the big thing that made you go, holy shit, this is happening?
I think Night and Day and then Unify, because
Yes.
Unify was like the goal. We've been going for years. It's just like that's
Yep.
the stage that I want to be on one day,
Yep.
and we got
And we
there.
got
And you
there.
got to do
Yeah.
it and smashed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was amazing. We were never supposed to be there either.
Yeah.
Because like we were talking to our like Wild Thing, and we're like, yeah, we want to go to Unify like this year, and they said, we're a bit late on that, and we said, okay, cool, that's fine, because
Yep.
we understood we were late on that. And then all of a sudden we get this message from Triple J Unearthed, and they said,
Yeah.
congratulations,
You won, that's
and we
right.
went, what?
Yeah.
Because we just were like automatically in the running for their competition because our latest song, Waves, were like it's up on that
It was
platform.
added to, yeah.
And so we're just like, yeah, you're going to Unify, and all of us just went, what the fuck? Like, holy shit!
Don't have to buy
yeah.
tickets. We don't have to camp. We
Exactly.
can go to the artist area. Yeah.
Best Unify ever. Yeah.
And going as punters and being on stage, do you miss getting sweaty with the crowd? And
Oh, we
or
were
did you-
still doing that.
Yeah, you got back
yeah.
in there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Yep.
coming off stage, packing up, and then jumping straight in the crowd
Oh,
again. 'Cause,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's the best bit. Like
Yeah. Exactly. That's my favorite bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, performing's great and I love it. But yeah, being part of that environment and atmosphere in amongst like everybody else that's watching the show. Like,
Exactly,
it's-
yeah. And you never know who's going to notice you in a mosh pit and be like, oh my God, I just saw you on stage.
Yeah,
That kind of
yeah, and that's always really
Yeah.
nice when people, come up and say hello.
Or
Like it means the
seeing a
world.
Future Static T-shirt in the crowd. It's
my
still,
God.
it's still like,
Yeah.
so like
Yeah.
oh, you like us enough to like wear our shirt.
Yeah,
That's
you spent
amazing.
your money on our merch.
Yeah.
It's-
Yep.
Yeah.
And then eventually, as time goes down, you're going to have the people who get the Future Static tattoos. Would that be a trip for you at this point in time?
I'll be upset if I'm not the first person to get a Future Static tattoo.
Yep.
So
But
long-
what if a fan beats you to it?
Yeah, the race is on.
Yeah.
As soon as this goes out, the race is on.
Exactly,
no,
yeah.
no.
If you're a Future Static fan and you want to get a tattoo, beat Jackson.
Don't, because I'll come looking for you. All right. Yeah, if we find a Future Static tattoo on someone, I'm gonna freak out because
Yeah.
that's like, yeah, that's permanent, bro.
Exactly,
Like-
and it shows the dedication. I mean, you're
Yeah.
turning heads, making waves, pun intended, with everywhere you go moving forward. And I guess looking forward to the future, we've seen you play these festivals, you played Big Sound, you're doing the tours. What's next? What can we expect coming forward?
We have a pretty big show
Yeah.
that we're headlining.
Yeah.
That it's the biggest thing that we've worked on and that
put
we're
together,
a part of,
yep.
put
Yeah.
together. So we're equal parts excited and nervous about that show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because that'll be a really raw indication of our progress
Yep.
over the last 2 years.
100%. Yeah.
So yeah, but I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, and then we have the album.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, an album? A debut album?
You got damn right.
Cool. And this is the progression, and obviously maintaining the movement of the band moving forward. So you want to continue putting out as much music as physically possible.
Yep.
Sit on the back of this album that you're working on, which is obviously coming up very soon or whenever it is, and then eventually tour the world. Are they the big plans?
Oh yeah,
That's the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's it.
100%.
Yeah, Europe, US, like South America, like I want it all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're watching bands like Thornhill and Alpha Wolf this year doing what they're doing. It's like that. I want to be them. I want to do that cool
Yeah.
stuff.
And then Void Division, like touring with August Burns Red.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah.
Genuinely jealous of Void Division.
All right, so moving into next year, there's an album on the way. I'm hearing whispers about something involving the Spanish language, but we won't go into that. We'll just let our
That's special.
We'll let our
Yeah.
viewers figure that out organically.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
plenty of stuff is happening in the future for Future Static, and I guess all we have to do is just get involved as much as we physically can.
That's it.
Future
Yeah.
Static, thank you so much for stopping by Wall of Sound TV.
Thank you
Thank
so much for
you.
having us.
Speaking of prog, the Educate Ebony Season 2 podcast just wrapped up. Favourite guests, moments?
So many. Ian Kenny from Carnival. Polyphia.
Ooh.
Jordan Rudess from Dream Theater.
Amazing.
Polini.
Pliny?
I don't know. Is that how you say it? That's what I've been calling him.
Pliny.
Pliny?
Pliny?
That's what I said.
Pliny. And
James Monteith from Tesseract.
huge.
So many. It was a great time. You should go check it out.
Massive season. And you also actually had to get yourself some vinyl for one of your listening notes and listen to an old school prog record.
I did. I actually bought it. You know, I unwrapped it from the packaging. I had to play it.
Hey, don't look at me. I'm one of these vinyl collectors who collects it. I don't play it. It just sits there on the wall and I look at it because it's so beautiful.
That's not right.
Anyway, moving right along again, the next band we want to put in front of you is a band who I first came into contact with in 2019. They're from regional Victoria and prove that because you are so isolated, you have to work twice as hard to make it, especially in the heavy music industry. Now, these boys are doing great things and, in my opinion, are the next best thing since the Amity Affliction. It brings us great pleasure to introduce you to...
Hey, this is Carl and Ione from Ocean Sleeper.
And you're watching Wall of Sound TV.
Pew!
Please welcome Ocean Sleeper!
What's happening? We're stoked to be here.
We obviously don't have a rental crowd yet. We're building up. But you boys, though, performing in Newcastle last night and having a plethora of fans showing up. Obviously, you know, you're not taking this for granted. This has obviously been a long time coming and you're finally seeing the fruits of your efforts showcasing with all these people checking you out.
Yeah, we're stoked. Like, the numbers that we've been doing on this tour is, you know, something that you could only dream of, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, super stoked about all that. Really stoked to be bringing an international band over to support us. That's something that is a complete blowout.
Just the whole package, hey, it's like... Yeah, it's like Inertia slaps, Earthcaller slaps, Thousand slaps.
And was this pre-organised by you guys? You wanted these bands specifically?
So,
or was it-
Yeah, pretty much. We like to have a good pick at, like, who we take. Like,
When we played with Inertia, I think on the AM/PM run, we were just like, they're playing the tour.
You're going to
like,
do
they're
more
just,
with them.
They're just such a good band.
Yeah.
And this is the thing I love about the Australian heavy music scene. Like, there's not really that tall poppy syndrome much anymore. Like, all the established bands, your Amity Afflictions, your Parkways, your Polaris and all that, they've made it. They've moved on and they're touring the world. You guys are still coming up the scene and you're willing to help out the next generation of bands and help them out as you grow too. Is that something that's in the back of your mind, they're constantly thinking about?
Well, it's, you know, obviously you want to support people you like. Like, we obviously love all the bands on the tour as people, so it's, like, awesome to be able to give, you know, Inertia some cool shows and, like, Earthcaller some cool shows. But, yeah, at the same time, it's like when we were starting out, we were sort of an outsider band because we were from Gippsland. We didn't know anyone in the scene. We only knew, like, our little country niche people. So it's, like, it was quite hard for us to break into supporting shows or, like, anything like that. So making sure that we can, you know, do what we sort of needed at the time.
Return the favour and help them out. Yeah, because for those who don't know, Gippsland is the middle of fucking nowhere. The only thing that is of relevance to our heavy music scene is Unify, which comes down that way. So to have a big party like that in your backyard in Gippsland, it obviously would have put the fuel in the fire for you guys to not only play the event when we first met, but to hopefully come back and play a later set during the day, that kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah. Like, that was a blowout when Unify was even announced. Like, I could not believe that was coming to, like, our city. Well, they're still 2 hours from us.
Still.
Our area, you know, because it's like bands. It's not even in the touring circuit.
Exactly.
Like, no one goes there.
Talking about the bands from Australia, obviously Windwaker, they're in a regional area as well too. Wagga Wagga, you guys in Gippsland, you almost have to work twice as hard as bands in cities to get your name out there first and foremost. But you know, growing up, obviously you guys did the backyard shows and you know, playing the 12, 13 people. Now you're obviously headlining the Bright Side, which is a capacity of a couple hundred. It's to see the progression happen in such a short amount of time. Are you constantly taking a step back and going, cool, we're actually doing this?
It's just everything surreal, really. It's like last night watching Thousand Below and us just being stoked that this was happening, because it's like from when we were younger, it's like these opportunities didn't exist, so it's just like it's just crazy.
I think just this came, like, obviously we were grinding for a while, but then all of a sudden the sing-alongs came, and that's like a whole new, like, feeling when you've got that much stuff going on.
And look, when you got a song like Light in My Dark from the album, and then you've just put out this fantastic fucking EP, Is It Better Feeling Nothing, which is just going to traject you guys so far. It's an incredible piece of work. Tell us how this all came to be, the process behind this, because were you sitting on it during COVID? Is this where it all stemmed from?
Yeah, so we started writing it probably before COVID. It would have been 2019. Stan and I did a batch of demos that coincidentally we weren't actually going to show Carl at all until they were finished.
Yep.
But then we were like, no, they're too sick. We've got to show Carl.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's they were ideas back then, and then across the last few years we just revised and rewritten and went back and explored things that we did wrong in the demos at the start.
Yep.
With COVID, we had time to take a lot more effort into writing songs and revise them and go back rather than just well, it needs to be done, so this is as done as it can be for this moment. So
even for something like 6 Feet Down Reimagined, the demo for that was done 2 years before we even thought of releasing it properly, because Carl came up with the idea. It was 6 Feet Down Reimagined would be sick. Then we made it and it was and
then we didn't do anything with it, and then COVID happened and we were we had it in our back pocket. We're just well, this needs to go out, because we thought COVID was going to be over in 2 months. So we're
2 years later, we're still fucking
we were we need to we're this needs to go out before everyone's back to normal. And then
with this new EP, it is quite heavy, and as I've said to everyone who I've spoken to about it when recommending it to them, it harks back to the early Amity Affliction. And you boys did an interview with Adam Rice from Wall of Sound where you said that you're releasing music that you want to hear, that you like hearing in the first place. And as bands progress and they get to the point where I guess they've made it and they've got a couple of albums, couple of EPs under their feet, they tend to find different influences and they bring in pop elements and stuff like that. Are you all about the bangers and the breakdowns and all that now, or is that something we could see you touching on in future?
It's we have plans to do different stuff in the future, but it's we're probably always going to do stuff that sort of hits our taste, but also serves our fan base, if you know what I mean, because we know sing-alongs our favorite part of the set, and we know big breakdowns are our favorite part of the set, and then we know with songs like Running Through My Head, everyone having their torches up is an amazing moment. So it's just there's so many facets we can explore. And this EP sort of laid the groundwork for us to either go heavier or do something else that's maybe a little bit more like the album, and then come back later on with both.
We're very lucky because Iony's great producer, but
fantastic producer,
really wide range of music taste, which reflects, I think, our new EP a lot when we've got Forever Stinking that has trap bits and then it's also got a heavy bits, but then it's got we try to I think ballady choruses, so it's trying to infuse everything that we can. I think a lot of it, I can look at Iony and all the music Iony's written over his time and see the progression of Iony.
And are you constantly, giving him the pat on the back going, you're doing a good job, man?
Because you don't want his head getting too big.
Well, look, as we look towards the future with you boys, obviously you've had the opportunity to play overseas before. I know that you played a festival
in Taiwan.
That's right. So you've made the jump on an international level, but you're still a relatively unsigned band coming up the ranks here in Australia. What advice would you pass on to the bands who are coming up right now who want to follow suit with what you're doing, keeping it all sort of in-house without relying on other people to come in and help get that to that level?
Work with more artists. For sure, because it's the better you get, if you've got a producer in the band, the better they get at their craft, the better the band's going to be, and that's going to benefit everyone. And then it's people have different weight on their shoulders, you know what I mean? Because Ocean Sleeper wouldn't be what it is if Carl didn't take the reins in regards to managing the band and organising stuff and having a bigger vision for it. And then if he, imagine if he had to do the producing stuff as well, it just would fall apart. The same thing would happen if I had to do that. It just wouldn't work.
So it's, we try to share the load around easily, but it's me and Iony have spent a dumb amount of hours on the phone, just just kind of spitballing things. And it's well, this could be cool, that could be cool, because it's you don't want to be trapped in this thing. You want to branch out. You want to experiment. You want to do things outside of the music to make it three-dimensional, not just songs. You want all the avenues to be as good as the songs, you know what I mean?
You want to create merch that goes along with the releases that are really great at the shows that you're doing.
The music video is everything.
Everything like that. The King of Nothing video, fucking exceptional.
Because Iony shot that.
Well done.
Shout out Jaden Colvin.
But it's all the EP videos we did, all of them we did most of them in my dad's shed, and we just built the
it was psycho.
Sets.
Carl built this massive cyclorama in his dad's shed.
Really?
And it's huge. The big red wall.
So look, from what you're saying is you need a producer, a videographer in the band, people that can play music, and a carpenter just to help out with shits and giggles.
The real thing is DIY till I die.
The things that we've done for a band from Gippsland, going to America to record, going overseas, doing all this, bringing bands here, doing all this stuff, and it's really makes me feel really happy because we've worked really hard. We've done it all for our own bat, and now,
And then you get music in the background like that, which really brings it back down to the humbleness of like, okay, we're not at that level yet of playing stadiums and all that shit.
No.
All right, well, what's next for Ocean Sleeper? This EP's out, the tour's happening now. What are we looking forward to for the future?
We've got some things coming. We've got some
big things coming.
Big
local band.
Look, we're excited for what you're going to see from us. You know, we're excited for that. We're excited for the new direction. I think we've found a really good way of writing music where, you know, I think it's great that Ocean Sleepers stayed the same members. It's, you know, we're still such good friends, and it's good that we get to explore this world with each other and make new music together and make all these memories. It's like, it's awesome. So
it's very wholesome.
hopefully new music either the end of this year or the start of next year.
Keep it going.
We want to keep the ball rolling.
We want to keep going. We're notoriously bad at getting shit done.
Long timelines, Ocean Sleeper.
Yeah.
Ocean Sleeper, check them out. The brand new EP, Is It Better Feeling Nothing, is out now. Go stream it. Boys, absolute pleasure. Thank you for stopping by.
Thanks for having us.
What a great interview. Bit fuzzy though. Did you fire the camera guy?
No, we didn't take into consideration the fact that the sun revolves around the earth. So when we had it all set up perfectly, the sun went down and unfortunately, it went a bit sloppy. But hey, much like the bands we're talking about today, we do a lot of DIY stuff here on Wall of Sound TV. And look, we'd love to do more in season 2. So if this is something you'd love to get behind and invest in, I guess, you know, get in touch with Wall of Sound. Adidas. You just drop Yeezy, hit up Wall of Seezy.
But seriously, an ongoing theme with a lot of these bands is DIY, and sometimes it's the best way to get what you want.
Exactly. You need to make sure you are investing in the right people because you don't want to put your time and effort into someone who offers you the world but delivers an atlas.
Aw, what poetry.
I know, right? I should start a band. But before we get into the man and icon that is Winston McCall from Parkway Drive, I want to spearhead this next direction and derail the train for a moment and play a little fun game involving some great upcoming bands in the music industry with a little segment I like to call Separated at Birth.
I didn't agree to this.
Let's jump into it, Ebony. You're going to help us out with this and rate these comparisons. So what we have is a bunch of bands who are upcoming in the music industry, and I've matched them up with counterparts or celebrities that they look like. You ready for this?
No.
The first one is Brad Smith from pop punk band Heroes for Hire. They've made a comeback recently. Standout track, not featuring Travis Barker. He looks a lot like Stephen Curry.
Who is Stephen Curry?
You don't know who Stephen Curry is?
No.
The Nugget, The Castle, famous Australian actor. He won a Logie.
I don't think I've seen any of them.
Anyway, let's move on. Stephen Franks, he was formerly in the band Introvert. He's now focusing in his post-hardcore project, Frank&Charlie. He looks a lot like Legolas from The Lord of the Rings.
I see it, a little bit. Maybe more Targaryen. Maybe Daemon Targaryen.
I haven't seen Game of Thrones,
Shame
so
on you.
let's move on.
It's House of the Dragon. Jeez, Brownie.
Whatever. And the last one we've got is Gary Handler from Dissect, my favourite upcoming Gold Coast band. He looks so much like Ronnie Radke from Falling in Reverse, don't you reckon?
Yeah, I kind of see that. I don't think we'll be playing this game again.
Yeah, let's move on and forget it even happened, okay?
Okay. Well, to finish off the episode, we have the Moses of the Mosh himself, Winston McCall from Parkway Drive. He's got some great advice for you, but we'll leave you with him, and we'll see you in episode 3.
Peace!
This is Winston from Parkway Drive, and my little pieces of advice for bands coming up in the scene are pretty simple. Number 1, do it because you love doing it. At the end of the day, if you love doing what you do, that's the best reward you ever get. If nothing happens from your band, at the core of it, just jamming out with some mates and doing a gig, or just playing in a garage, or just writing some songs that you love is the core of what makes this music absolutely precious. Number 2, and this is a pretty massive one, if you choose to do anything in the music industry, ask yourself if you can do it yourself first. At the end of the day, like, this is a brutal industry to be involved in, and every single piece of the band that you can hold on to, every right that you can hold on to, every single dollar that you can make, that you don't have to give to someone else out of laziness or a little bit of ignorance or a little bit of lack of information, that you could do if you figured it out yourself, will help provide not only an extended future for what you love doing, but the possibility of it being something more, or the possibility of being able to take another form of art that you learn through that and put it straight back into that thing you love, and it will help all of that grow. And that's the thing. At the end of the day, longevity is the key with a lot of this stuff. The more that you can put into it, the more you're going to get out of it on every single level. So if you keep that in mind, it's a hell of a good chance that you will go a lot further doing what you love than if you didn't. So hope that helps you. I'm Winston from Parkway. That's my advice.